and shout out to all of them. I see a lot of gender reveals on my, you know what I mean? Shout out to them. Shout out to the people that's just still
Like
having baby
people coming
daddies.
out of the closet reveals or children?
Children, bro,
Oh,
like
okay.
relationship.
She feeling saucy, I'm feeling sturdy. I got a 4-piece, up in the 30. They tryna hold me, shoot like Curry. They feeling salty, I'm feeling sturdy.
You know what I mean?
Question of the week. What's good, Roy?
Question of the week, the culture question.
Culture question of the week.
Question of the week. That's my new shit. Yo, so culture question of the week for this week for episode where we at 11. I want to talk about how the culture feels about monogamy in relationships. Like, how do we view it going into, 2020?
Bro, what type of question is that?
That's a question.
Listen, hold on, hold on.
Joe.
I had to say that for.
Go ahead, Joe.
All
Go
right, no,
first.
we gotta punch in here because like the explanation isn't really required. I had to say that, being in a faithfully monogamous relationship, I just gotta be honest with the people here. So my outbursts totally require my explanation, not really necessary.
Wait, what did you say? You got to
What?
run that back. You said freefully monogamous. What is that?
Faithfully monogamous.
Roy,
Oh,
Roy,
I thought you said
Roy,
some
Roy,
freaky shit I
repeat the
needed to
question.
know
Repeat the
about.
question, man.
So, like, I wanted to know, like, what is this culture? Like, how does the culture view monogamy? Like, because I see it's a lot of trend of people getting married and shit. And shout out to all of them. I see a lot of gender reveals on my, you know what I mean? Shout out to them. Shout out to the people that's just still
Like
having baby
people coming
daddies.
out of the closet reveals or children.
Children, bro.
Oh,
Like
okay.
relationships.
You
Like
said gender reveal, so like
families.
I know.
Yeah, like a kid. They
I want
having
to
a
know, how do
family.
y'all feel? Like, do y'all feel like monogamy is at an all-time high and people are looking to be settled more than ever now? That's what it's looking like to me. It's looking like, like people looking like they trying to look for that special person, or some people are forcing it to be that special person, and people are trying to make this shit work. So, what y'all think about that? Because look at didn't Cardi B go back and fuck with Offset again? Nicki got married.
I'll say it
Um,
like this: COVID started a year ago, so all of these reveals they only make sense now.
True. I got a good COVID. The COVID babies. Shout out to the COVID babies.
The
That's gonna be a whole
One of
thing.
your parents gone because the president didn't shut the country down.
That's gonna be a whole thing when, like, 18 years from now, when them little niggas is got a third eye blind and over here, they gonna be like, "Yo, you a COVID baby? Be at
Yo, they're gonna
home."
have fucking superpowers.
Nah, they gonna have, because niggas had to wear masks all year. They babies coming out with elf ears. Everybody, they gonna have elf ears. That's how we gonna know they COVID babies.
No, that's from the 5G. It's from the 5G.
Uh huh.
It's
They
gonna
gonna have a
it's
bunch of
gonna give
little
your baby ESP.
Klingon.
Yeah, you gotta
nah,
gonna
I
come out speaking math.
I don't know if monogamy is like at a high now. I think it's more of because like honestly, man, all I've been really been seeing is trying to make it work with your baby mama or your baby daddy, or just like I'm trying to live life and soil my royal oats and just rock out. Like I see that more than monogamy, honestly. Where like it's beautiful to like settle down with one person, but a lot of people aren't really mature enough to understand what comes with that and like what you have to be prepared for and how you have to be at a point in life in order to be ready to do that. Like I don't think enough people understand what it takes when they try to do that. So F it, it's easier to just, rock out. Like I think that happens more times than none where like if a situation for them to settle down happens, it's them trying to make a situation work.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The divorce numbers have been like super high. At least a couple of years ago, the last I checked, it's super high in this country just because nobody really wants to get together. So I think that a lot of the people having kids now, a lot of that is to do with the fact that everybody has been stuck at home for a little more than a year. So people are kind of being forced together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at like the domestic violence numbers, how they just have not. They've they persisted. They have not gone down. So people are just with people that they absolutely hate,
But
or
but that goes back to decision making. So the question is about monogamy.
yeah,
So do we feel like so I well personally I feel like it's a generation thing,
Yeah, Roy, how you feel about monogamy? Because you're older now and you're still single.
and I'm single by lack of choice, and a lot of it is by my own choice. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
Explain that.
I'm 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 at an age where it's like my next move got to be my best move. You feel me?
yeah.
And if it's a chess move, I gotta make it. I gotta make it work. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm more methodical and cerebral in my approach. So I'm not a young gunner anymore. Like I'm not trying to fucking smoke the whole town. Like been there, done that. Knows I'm capable of it. So I can retire from that game. So, but what I see from a younger generation, I used to date a little younger than me, and the generation is just like, they don't give a fuck because it's like a more instant. Like they'll fuck you for like 2 months and then be like, all right, I go fuck with somebody else because it's like an instant generation. Everything is like swipeable. You know what I mean? Like it comes to them too easy. So that old we gonna make it work mentality is not even there. So what I see is I see a bunch of people just like you said going with the flow a lot of the times. And I asked this question because I watched this crazy ass documentary on Netflix, and I just be on my Netflix shit and like just clicking on shit, and I just watched this shit, and then it was I gotta start getting the names of the shit, but I don't even want the names. Go search for it. It's like some spring break. It's like some 2017 shit, and the people is down there, and the young people, and they just asking people like how they feel about sex and how they feel about monogamy, and it's like, man, people and women, and they're like, no, we're just here to fuck, and I was like shocked by this shit. I'm like, yo, your mom's gonna watch this shit, but that just goes to show you, like,
My mama gonna see this.
but it's no, what's the name? Remember that shit used to be like sacred back in the days. Well, when I was coming up, so now it's just like
Girls Gone
everything.
Wild was a thing back in the days, bro.
Yeah,
Girls
but what
Gone
I'm
Wild
saying,
was,
like,
but it wasn't as
your
popular.
girls was gonna go wild. It wasn't nobody you knew going wild. You was watching chicks from like Idaho and shit
You saw
going
white
like,
girls going wild. You didn't see
all
like
right, then
other
tell them
cultures.
again, Key. So you ain't like that's what Girls Going Wild was about, and they was a white dude was exploiting his own. You know what I mean? Like,
All is as it should be.
you know what I mean? So, but what like, yeah, I feel like that's the right rate is going, and monogamy I don't think is a lot of things that is traditional, so it's not one just because you see people together that don't mean that monogamy is happening too. I just want to tell you that
Yes, one
that's
thing
another
too.
thing.
Well, like two things. Well, one, I look at people like Lil Will. Like Lil Will got had two girlfriends at one point, and seeing Will and the influence he got, he was going to try to do that. But everybody can't do that. Like that's not for everybody. Like you need to
Yeah,
be in a certain situation for polygamy to be a thing, which includes a lot of money and being able to give a time to them, or for them to be okay with the idea of that happening and be cool with each other. There's a lot of stars that need to align for that to happen. And
I think you'd actually be pleasantly surprised at how little is required for that to work.
for polygamy,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not.
explain what needs to be required. What little thing needs to be
It
required?
depends on what you're
Self
doing this
esteem.
for.
I don't know.
Self-esteem is
That,
one thing.
Is it a religious polygamy or is just like a social or like
I
it because
don't think he's taught any religion. It's just they both know about each other. They introduced.
so that and that way it's just a nigga with some game, like he could
Yeah, but
he
that's the
could
thing.
be
You gotta have game. Like
you got to be
everybody
a
don't
cool
have the
enough
game.
nigga, like, yeah, you right, you got to have the because at the end of the day, it's only what you accept as a person, as an individual. So if that's if what you're okay with, be okay with it. If that's what rocks your boat, let it rock your boat.
But
But
the
when it
chances
starts
of
to
that,
affect others, that's when it's usually a little bit of an issue, and that's where we draw that line in the sand with we have too much media. yeah, it's great to know that black dudes ain't getting treated right by the cops, but we have so much media for everything else that puts the exposés out on anybody and everybody's life, and privacy is not even a thing anymore. It can be breached at any moment. So
No, that's facts. And then like, the second thing, Joe, you know what I'm about to talk about, where over at GoPuff, like the one guy he's married pretty much, and so he was like talking to us about how, he'll like spit game at different chicks, or like, give a chick $10 to get some Chinese, and see what that does for her, or like see what reaction that she
Whoa, whoa,
get.
whoa, whoa! Oh shit!
Yeah, and I see her reaction to that shit. Yo, when
Yeah.
this nigga told me that he giving $10 and shit, I was like, nigga, 10, what you expect to do? Like, what's she gonna do with that? She's like, she just
man,
looked at him crazy because
good. You can only get $10 Chinese food unless it's
exactly, like,
special.
that's exactly
That's
what's gonna happen. So I was
fucking
telling him that
funny,
he was
bro.
like,
That's
nah,
a
I'm thinking
whole
she could
fact
get some
though.
other shit.
He ain't
So
even balling. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you expect to happen, but like he's in a married relationship and this is what he's going out and doing. So it's like where, I don't know where his mindset is, but obviously it's somewhere else than where the relationship is at that point in time, where something's happening in that relationship to make him steer somewhere else. So, it depends on the person or the people that are in that relationship for monogamy to work. Like you can't have that type of bond with just anybody.
So we saying that monogamy is not a thing. It's not a common thing. It's not a traditional thing anymore. It's out of the window. Every
These days,
relationship has a back door
these days
or
is
a
not
side
as
door.
common. It's not as common as back in the days.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's the primary form of
It's not the
interpersonal
primary. It's
relations.
supposed to be the primary focus of a relationship is to be monogamous and happy with one person. So,
I don't necessarily think that that's the case.
Now we got entanglements.
so what do you think? Like illicit affairs keep relationships spicy?
No, that's not what I said.
That's what you're saying, Joe?
That's not what I said. I just I don't think that I don't think that
Oh, I'm telling
monogamy.
Kelly.
I don't think that that's the
We're gonna have this
prime.
nigga on cheaters. The cheater flag is gonna be
Yeah,
following.
We
primary
got your
form of
ass.
relationship. Monogamy is it's a specific thing, right? Like when you go into like see like you love somebody, you go into a relationship with them. Like what is like the first thing that you think of about the relationship? You don't think, oh my god, I have to be, absolutely monogamous. Like that's just something that's just a byproduct of you like loving somebody, right? Like so
I
that's that.
guess
Yeah,
respect.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not necessarily it's not a thing that people go into a relationship saying like, yo, I have to be absolutely monogamous. It's just you go into it like, hey, I love this person, I want to be with them.
Hmm.
Like being
And if I
monogamous isn't.
respect you,
Yeah,
I won't fuck the milkman
Yo.
or the Amazon guy
that's
Uh,
wild, bro.
Co-
That's
on
absolutely crazy.
Sunday when you doing the double, busting your ass, and you motherfucking. Ooh.
She feeling saucy, I'm feeling sturdy. I got a 4-piece, up in the 30. They tryna off me, she like curry. They feeling salty, I'm feeling sturdy.